Between the Great Mesopotamian War and World War I, the dominant world power was the Pasindhian Empire. This empire controlled eastern Persia, most of the Indian subcontinent, parts of Arabia, Socotra, eastern Africa, Indonesia, southern China, and Chile. Pasindhia was an economic powerhouse and was extremely wealthy. Yet their entry into the First World War would mark their downfall. India rebelled away and the monarchy collapsed. After that, they lost the Pasindo-Afghan War and were crushed in the Second World War. They had a brief revival during World War IV, but that ultimately resulted in nothing. It is truly a shame how such a great empire could collapse that brutally. Which begs the question, what if Pasindhia's fate was reversed? What if Pasindhia never fell off? What if Pasindhia won World War I? As luck would have it, that is exactly what I will dedicate my very last series on this channel to. Welcome, dear viewers, subscribers, fans and friends, to the world of the Eternal Order.
The year was 1900, 'tis worth remembering the men who lived through 55 days at Peking.
The first thing that I would like to point out is that this scenario will often make references to previous scenarios I have made, mostly to explain why I make certain decisions in the scenario and what my logic behind the events is. But without further delay, the point of divergence is the Alaska Purchase. It's canon that the Alaska Purchase is what divided the Pasindhian oligarchy and eventually led to the Indian Revolution. Sadly, we don't know the reasoning of the oligarchs who were against the purchase, so it becomes difficult to find a compromise. But I think that I have found a solution around this issue. Pasindhia still buys Alaska, but only the oligarchs who were in favor of the purchase would actually invest into the colony, which is likely also what happened historically considering how oligarchy works. This is good, because if Alaskan gold and silver were discovered right after the purchase, the relative wealth of the oligarchs who did support Alaska, and thus the ones who were on the side of the monarchy, would increase compared to the disloyal oligarchs, changing the power balance in Pasindhia's favor. Now, I know that paralleling things in Wixo off of real life is a very cheap thing to do, and I often prefer to avoid it unlike in previous scenarios. But in this case it is not too ridiculous, as although borders and nations are completely different in Wixo and real life, materials in the ground are the same, and this is the only real way I can think of to grow Pasindhia's strength whilst also not conceding to the oligarchs. The next change involves reforms to centralize power under the monarchy. In the rest of the world, support for democracy or democratic-like reforms is growing. For example, Ukraine and the Circular Powers promote democracy across Eastern Europe and the Middle East. The Netherlands is also starting to experiment with constitutional monarchy, and it is proving to be popular with the people. With the power of hindsight, we know Pasindhia intends to align with Ukraine in WW1 anyways, so bringing them closer is a good idea. With support from the people, Pasindhia can slowly chip away at the power of the oligarchs, modeling themselves after the Hittite kingdom. A parliament of the people would be created in the future, yet it held no real power, only serving as an advising body. With these reforms, Pasindhia is ready for the First World War. They are presented with two options: join the triangular powers and gain some small gains out of Persia, or join the circular powers and not only permanently remove the threat of Mesopotamia, but also break the European powers. The correct choice was clear to Pasindhia, so they rallied their forces and invaded into Mesopotamia. In the Americas, Pasindhia would capture Hawaii and move into Spanish Peru. In Alaska, the Pasindhians would retreat to the Columbia River for better defenses. Spain, preoccupied with the European and Middle Eastern theaters, quickly lost control over their American possessions. After all, who could have expected the Pasindhians to invade into the Americas? Everything up to Panama was lost, whilst the Netherlands had to step in Central America. In the Middle East, Mesopotamia quickly fell as the professional and well-equipped Pasindhian forces took over from the Ukrainians who were preoccupied in Krakow. Arabia was invaded from Socotra and Bahrain, and sued for peace. Pasindhia would take control of Madagascar but would lose it quickly after. the Indian Ocean would see the biggest naval conflicts to date, as the two superpowers of the Netherlands and Passindia clashed. With the fall of Jordan, Russia, and the Sinai, circular focus turned to Krakow. After a few more months of fighting, Krakow was freed from triangular occupation. With the circular powers now entering the Dutch homeland, the triangular powers would agree to a peace conference in Sweden. Before I continue, I know there will be angry Romans in the comments talking about me not having them be liberated. And whilst yes, I do think that Rome is the worst nation in Wixo, I do like to keep these videos somewhat realistic. With that, how could the circular powers ever even hope to invade Italy when they are nowhere near it? Anyways, I will discuss the peace treaty of the First World War now. Rome would receive light punishment, losing their Libyan colony, surrendering Corsica to France and being pushed south a little bit. Krakow would gain a small bit of territory from Austria, as the Netherlands didn't want to lose any land themselves. Russia was split up between Belarus and Ukraine, Passindia expanded their American colonies, and annexed Hawaii. The real important region to this peace conference was Mesopotamia. Caspia would gain a foothold in Azerbaijan, and Mesopotamia itself was claimed by the Hittite kingdom. Passindia would push for Persia to be greatly expanded, as it meant securing their western border. Persia and Passindia would come out of the war as great allies. Jordan was folded into the Hittite kingdom, but the Sinai went to France. Finally, Arabia would lose some border regions to Passindia, and the triangular powers had to pay war reparations to the winners of the war. That is going to do it for this video. It has been exactly 1 year since I uploaded my first video on this channel, so I thought that it would be a good idea to post this on the anniversary of this channel. It has been an amazing journey and I am extremely grateful for y'all's commitment to the community. Join me in the next episode to see how this world continues to develop, but for now this was the end of the video.